Today is Tech Friday. Yay! Welcome on in, everybody. Good to see you. This is an overstuffed edition because there was a lot this week. We'll have stuff from Apple, Mobile World Congress, and Elgato. Oh, and some of you may have not heard of the Mobile World Congress before. That is a yearly event in Barcelona that mainly covers mobile devices. Amazing how that works. So we'll get to announcements on that. But first, Apple had a whole week of announcements. They have a new iPad Air powered by the M4 chip coming up. Everyone decided to keep DC busy this week, right? So here is the direct Apple link with all the details about that in there. Pretty good improvement. Available in 11-inch and 13-inch. The 11-inch is $599 and $799 for the 13-inch model. I had an iPad Air. It is a pretty solid device, but I traded that in for a different thing, and I like it. Let's see how this works. Yeah, there we go. Oh, you know what? I forgot to add in my zoom effect button thing. Let's do it. Zoom effect button. Wait for loading. Go. All right. But yeah, so the article I linked gives you all the specs, how much faster it is than the previous iPad Air, and everything you typically expect from an update. Also, everything's going wild. Hold on. There we go. Also, Apple announced the iPhone 17e, as articles from Ars Technica, all about it, and put that in. Again, spec increase. It replaces the iPhone 16e for the same price. Pre-order is up now. Wide availability March 11th. Starting at, they like the price $599. So if you want the new low end of the iPhone lineup, you can get the 17e $599. Again, spec bump there. They also did the MacBook Air. Again, another spec bump, but the MacBook Air now has the M5 chip. Double the storage, but it is $100 more than the previous generation. I currently have a MacBook Air, and it's really wonderful. I like it a lot. And they also announced the Pro. Let me get this right. The M5 Pro and Max MacBook Pro. Hi, Brian. Don't need to look at Apple stuff. Looks anyway, right? And so another nice spec bump. But two things really caught my eye on Apple. First one, and it's an odd size or an odd spec. We have 2K and 4K and 8K, though 8K has kind of failed as a TV experiment because no one really needs that. But they have a new 5K mini LED studio display XDR. That's a lot of letters. Let's get that link in the chat. That's not the link. There we go. So here it is. Here's two of them side by side. 120 hertz display, 2000 nits of peak HDR brightness. Replacement for the 32-inch 6K Pro XDR display. Comes with an adjustable height, tilt, and height stand. Nice. Has a 12 megapixel center stage camera, Thunderbolt 5, and it is expensive, as you can see here, starting at $3,299. So it's going to be a great looking display, but yeah, it's a lot. However, the thing I'm really excited about, actually, is the $599 MacBook Neo. This is quite a device. It is Apple's kind of lowest cost MacBook, and I kind of like what's going on here. There it is. It comes in a bunch of fancy colors. Now it's powered with an A18 Pro chip from the iPhone 16, which is an interesting choice. You get for the $599, you get 256 gigabytes of storage, no Touch ID, but for another $100, you get double the storage and adds Touch ID. And it has 8 gigs of RAM. But honestly, at this price, pretty good. That is a good chip in there. It's not as fast as some other chips, but it is pretty good. It will do for most tasks. Now, if you're high into video editing and photo editing, this is probably not the device for you. I would not recommend this. But for all other purposes, this should be pretty good. And Mac OS is very, very good, especially the last couple updates have been pretty fantastic. And it's neat to see them getting into this market. Now, I've seen it, this is a push for students and people who don't need a whole bunch of power. So if you're a content creator, maybe not the thing. Someone said if you're asking about specs, this MacBook isn't for you, right? However, if what you do with your MacBook, or what you do with your portable device is mainly email, and maybe you look at websites, maybe you write on it, this is a really compelling alternative, even to other Windows laptops out there, especially for the price. Having a small portable laptop that is usable and functional, you want a travel machine or similar? Yeah. Reminded of the Surface from Microsoft and what it was meant to be. Yeah, me too. I was thinking a lot about that. How like this is kind of what the Surface used to be, where the intent was before it became more of a pro thing. And I'm actually considering this. Like I said earlier, I have a MacBook Air. What if I trade that in and I get one of these? Because what am I using my Air for? Right? I'm mainly using it to write on. It's a portable thing. I don't know if I need the whole power of a MacBook Air, or when I go to upgrade, I'll probably look at whatever the MacBook Neo option is, because there's some power there. The only thing is the 8 gigs of RAM, but again, just be conscious of what you're doing with it. If you take your laptop around and you edit video while you're traveling, or you do heavy Photoshop, not the thing for you. But I run my games off my MacBook Air my home game. So I need it to open Obsidian and a web browser that can use D&D Beyond or other digital tools. Maybe make some emails. That's largely what I use it for. Seems this would be a solid competitor to the Chromebooks. Yes, that too. Lots of fun colors. I've watched some video reviews on this. It is, the colors are all in aluminum, so it's not like a plasticky thing. And the keyboard keys have a also kind of match the color that you choose, and so do the feet on the bottom that keep it in place. But yeah, for everyone that doesn't need a bunch of power, it's a good size, and I'm pretty excited about this. I hope this line continues on. It's a 13-inch LCD display. This article mentions there's no true tone features for adjusting the screen's color temperature to your surroundings. I don't really notice that anyway, so it's not something I miss. In fact, I think I usually turn that off. So yeah, there are some features you won't get, but probably one of the most compelling Apple products to come out in a while, because the past few years it seems like they've been mostly doing spec bumps to things and improving iOS and iPad OS and Mac OS. But as far as hardware products, the MacBook Neo, I think, can be a really shiny example of what's coming up, of what a good base laptop just to get some work done is. All right, any more thoughts on that? Put them in chat. Otherwise, we're going to move on to Mobile World Congress, which takes place every year in Barcelona, Spain. It is a big, here's all the new cell phone-y things coming out. I have a couple of live blogs if you want. Liking that Apple is building out affordable products. Yeah, it's nice to see. Plus products that are actually useful, because sometimes you look at a lower priced Apple thing, and you're like, yeah, but if I spend a little more, I can get, this thing, but a little more might be a couple $100. Mobile World Congress. So here's a couple live blogs. If you want to check out absolutely everything, go to one of these links from ZDNet and Tech Radar. A couple interesting choices here. See here if I can get to it. So ZDNet had this article about Motorola using Graphene OS on phones, and it's a Graphene OS is a privacy-focused Android fork. It'll be on smartphones starting next year. There's the article, and it's interesting that a major phone manufacturer will be using an open OS on its phones as an alternative to just regular Android and iOS. And Graphene OS, according to the article here, builds on the Android open source project, includes privacy enhancements such as fortified app sandboxes and toggles for network sensor access. Graphene OS uses a mix of permissive open source licenses with the MIT license as the primary one for its own code. And Graphene OS will run most, according to this article, will run most Google Play apps. So if there's an Android app you really love, and you're interested in this sort of open OS, still might work. Thought that was pretty cool. Also, we have the TCL, people who make the Next Paper displays, have a phone coming out. AMOLED treatment, it's a remote vivid imagery, so it's using the NXT Paper technology that they've been developing for a number of years now, and it kind of puts it into a phone. And let's see. There you go. That article. All right. We also had keyboards are coming back to mobile devices. And one of the announcements was by a company called Unihertz. And they have a product called the Titan 2 Elite, which is reminiscent of Blackberries of old. They're going to launch on Kickstarter soon. And they're promising 5 years update support for Android. So if you kind of miss that BlackBerry feel, take a look at this. I don't believe the Kickstarter is up yet, but when it is, we can see the prices and everything. But if you want, a physical keyboard on your phone, yay. The other one that came up, and we've talked about them before, was the Clicks keyboard. This was announced at CES a few weeks ago, and they also had an announcement at Mobile World Congress. There's 2 devices coming out of interest. Go away. All right, there we go. They have the communicator, which is this thing over here, which is meant to just be apps. And they have the power keyboard, which you can attach to just about any Bluetooth enabled device. If we go to the communicator, you can still reserve at the early bird pricing. They actually extended the early bird pricing. I think it comes in at like $300 with $359, something like that, if you get it now. But if you want to use it as a companion to your phone or a primary phone, it's just meant to focus on messaging app. And the thing I'm excited about, let's see here, trying to navigate a thing, there we go, is the power keyboard by Clicks, which is this thing. It's a slide down keyboard. You can use it independently of a device. You can see here how this bit slides up so you could put a phone horizontally in it. And they mentioned some of the popular phones here, but that you can attach it to with a magnet. I did pre-order one of these, so whenever it comes in, I think mine will get here early summer. Do a review, but it is a backlit keyboard. Latest is they start shipping in May. Excellent. So yeah, I was looking at this, and the pre-order price is pretty good. I think it's only around $80 or so if you get it before the early bird pricing ends. And this device I can take to different TVs. If I have a Fire TV stick, so I could use it on this. I could use it with my phone. Could pair it with a lot of different devices. Yeah, pre-order now for $79, normally $109. So if you're interested, pre-order physical keyboards. Yay. Love them. All right, let me clean up a couple tabs here. Don't need any of those. Let's see, what else do we have? All right, we got a couple weird things at Mobile World Congress because, of course, we do. And this, well, let's go with this thing first because I think the thing I was about to show you is even more bizarre. But first up, Lenovo's robot concept can help you digitally sign documents. Of course, it's AI powered, so but it's worth taking a look at. And they did their proof of concept foldable gaming PC modular laptop thing, so it can scan, project, has an articulated head. Here it is. Has eyeballs, and it's like a little buddy that you use to look over your shoulder constantly, observing everything you do. Kind of like a desk lamp that invades your privacy. And there's also this work companion device here. But yeah, hey, you get two downward-facing 5-megapixel cameras, why not? But the weirdest thing, and I think this again is from Engadget, people who make these things have never actually asked themselves, what would make my job easier to do? Yep, exactly. Like, why? This is more complicated, and there's privacy things going on. I don't know. But the weirdest thing, and as Engadget calls it, the most bizarre smartphone at Mobile World Congress, can start fires on purpose. There's a little electronic lighter at the bottom. An electric igniter. It's the correct terms there. Aimed at emergency response, camping, helping to start fires when you forgot matches. Has an electric coil that heats up similar to cigarette lighters in cars circa 1987. Calls TSA, right? But look at this. Look at this thing. Like, really? The phone's going to be $400, 27 millimeters thick, and as Engadget points out, if a bear decided to attack you in the woods, you might be able to concuss it with the with the device. Let's see, let's catch up on chat here. You activate it using an app? Are you kidding me? Right? The irony that the ad at the side said think safety when this page I have an electric lighter. It's tiny. Why is that so huge? I don't know. Is that a Power Rangers Turbo Morpher? I think so. I think you summoned the whole Megazord with it. And yeah, that's a device you can get for some reason. It's huge. All right. Now we're going to get on to the main topic I'm going to talk about for a long time, is Elgato's Wave Next announcements. And what Elgato has done here through all these devices is give us options. Tech Friday plus XL, if you will. Exactly. So Wavelink 3 is out of beta. Still, to me, it's the best audio routing software you can use currently. If you have another program you already love, by all means, keep on it. Use it. However, for simplicity and power, Wavelink 3 is a very, very solid choice. It's going to be my recommendation here on out. You can get at the link I put in chat. Just the simplicity of audio routing alone is a key feature, and that it's free. So, bonus, it's free. You don't need Elgato hardware or anything. You can just download it, try it out, and if you don't like it, get rid of it, and it costs you nothing. And so that's kind of the key hub to everything else Elgato announced. And they did announce a bunch of new hardware. So we have the new hardware has some special things in it. So you have the Wave 3 Mark II, which is the microphone, and you have the Wave XLR microphone, or Wave XLR Mark II, which is the little device you can attach to the back of a Stream Deck Plus and have an XLR port available. Go it off here a second. I'm sorry, no. This is the Wave XLR is the thing with the big dial on it. You plug an XLR into it. I was thinking the XLR Dock Mark II. So here's the Wave XLR. It has buttons, has a new LED light around it. Here's what I was talking about, the XLR Dock Mark II for the Stream Deck Plus. This does not work with the newest Stream Deck, the Stream Deck Plus XL, which we'll get to in a minute. It is a power issue, or not issue, but I don't know if I'd call it an issue, but it has to deal with the power. If you try using this with the Stream Deck Plus XL, you could break something in the device or on your machine, because there's the power demands for both of them together are higher than what the Stream Deck Plus XL will take. But if you have a Stream Deck Plus, you can use the new Mark II. Now, with all these Mark II devices, they've added in new hardware, which does some neat audio processing tricks that sometimes you need a hardware mixer to get. And so, and this is the kind of one of the clever bits they've done, is that they've added these new chips inside these things that can support microphones. Like, used to be, if you had a Rode SM7B, you would need another little device called Cloud something to boost the power and then have that go into your audio mixer. Oh, this new chipset kind of takes that away, especially when we get to the Wave XLR Pro. So the big thing, one of the two big things is the Wave XLR Pro, and this is a hardware mixer. Complete thing. I've talked about the, if you can afford a hardware mixer, to absolutely have one, because it handles all the audio processing on your device. And so they took that concept and made it into a little box, like so. You can see it has 2 headphone jacks, has 2 XLR inputs on the back, has a couple of USB ports on the back as well. I don't know if there's just a solid picture. I don't want to wait for it to rotate around. Just show me a regular picture. See if we get one here. Give your setup superpowers. So if you have an XLR mic and you want some amazing processing power, and again, this also all ties into the Wavelink 3.0 hardware or software, the app. Everything you plug into it, you'll be able to do all the things with. So if you are a solo creator or you need just a couple of microphones, this is a really good solution, and it's less expensive than most other hardware mixers. Now, to go with this, if you want a hardware control, you can use the Stream Deck Plus or the new Stream Deck XL, which, yes please, lots of buttons. I think it's like 36 buttons. More knobs. Look at those beautiful knobs. So many knobs. So many knobs. Look at that. Look at those. Has a little touch screen. So, if you want an interface for this, Elgato has a couple options, right? You can have the 4 knobs of the Stream Deck Plus, the 6 knobs of the Stream Deck XL. If you don't need the Wave XLR Pro, you can spend less money and just get one of the, like the Wave XLR Mark II or the XLR Dock Mark II. Save yourself some money and just use those. Elgato has given us options in how we want to build our audio setup. And for example, the Stream Deck Plus XL is $350. The Wave XLR Pro is also $350. So you're looking at about $700 for both if you were to get both. However, you can just get 1 or 2 or whatever you need, and you get all this new high quality hardware advancement that will really boost your audio performance. And it's up to you how you want to design your space with all these new options. So kind of this modular idea, and Wavelink 3 is kind of the home for everything. But the Stream Deck Plus XL is I mean, look at all the buttons and the touch screen, knobs. Look at this glorious Stream Deck. I could just stare at this picture, watch it rotate around. Ooh, look at that. So this isn't quite something we've had in the creator space before. We have a bunch of lower cost interfaces like Fifine, or however they pronounce their thing, has a small little audio mixer, and that's great. But I think Elgato has found a way to give us a little more power out of these devices that you wouldn't normally expect out of things like that. Plus, again, how you want to set it up is up to you, which is great. Now, for comparison, the Rodecaster Duo is $500, I want to say. Let's make sure I'm right on there. Product. So yeah, the Rodecaster Duo is $500. The Rodecaster Pro 2 is $700. So if you were to get the Wave XLR Pro plus the Stream Deck Plus XL, you'd be sitting right between a Rodecaster Duo and a Rodecaster Pro 2, probably more on the Rodecaster Pro 2 end of things. But that's if you wanted both the big devices, and they're a smaller profile than most of your other hardware mixers. Now, I have a Rodecaster Duo. It works great. I'm not looking to replace it anytime soon. I really like it, what it does. Again, being able to have that audio processing happen in separate hardware is fantastic. And plus, I have the Rodecaster Duo, plus I'm using Wavelink 3 to route all the audio to the channels of the Rodecaster Duo, because it's just easier to do it that way. Plus, Wavelink 3 also detects my little mini mic here as a source, so I can control this through Wavelink 3 as well. And if I ever had guests in here, well, I got 2 mics here. I got the third mic here that's off screen. And if you want to learn more, go to Elgato's YouTube or check out their Twitch channel. They have big explanations on any of this stuff. I believe it's really exciting because we just haven't had this variety of options before, and Elgato has made it easy. You know, you look at something like Voicemeeter, and if you know how to use Voicemeeter, more power to you. I looked at it and noped out. I'm like, okay, I understand it's to look like an audio board, you know, big fancy audio board that I've seen and that I've used in production places. But the software version of it is just way too much. And so where we have things like the Rodecaster Duo or Voicemeeter that were coming from the area, coming from more of a, okay, let's give people devices that look more like what they're used to. And so you have the Rodecaster Duo with faders, you have, you know, Voicemeeter with its various knobs and how its interface is set up. And now you have Elgato coming in from almost the other way going, okay, well, we have this software stuff. We have Wavelink. How can we kind of maximize audio using software? How can we reimagine all of this in more of our way we reimagine things? And that's kind of what you're getting here with the new Wave Next stuff. And I find it interesting, and I look forward to seeing what other audio companies put out if they try to compete on any level with this. What kind of other devices is this now going to drive? And so even if you don't want to use any of the Elgato stuff, you use Wavelink 3. It's free. It's probably one of the best decisions they've ever made. Plus, you know, there's Stream Decks. Like the Stream Deck XL, so many knobs, touch screen panel, 36 buttons, so many buttons. So yeah, creators are in a really interesting place right now with all of this, and I think it's pretty fantastic that we have these options. Okay, we got a couple more things to go over for this Tech Friday, but I wanted to make sure I got all of that in, because that's a lot. Have comments, questions on anything we've talked about, go for it. This article comes from Motorola, or 9 to 5 Google. It's about the Motorola Razr Fold. Take a look at this. So instead of folding like this, they do they now have a book fold device, and I like foldable devices, and they're promising 7 years of updates with it. I can talk. I thought that was pretty awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how much that is. Oh, we're gonna have pre-rolls soon. Should take a break. Let me get to, I think I had another device thing here. Yeah, okay, one more thing. We'll take a break, and then when we come back, I have a couple more things to go through, and then we'll do the wind down thing. All right, but for this episode of Tech Friday, we're gonna wind up on the next Xbox, codenamed Helix, will play PC games. And this is on Ars Technica. So likely that this will be obviously a Windows-based device, as Microsoft has been reducing the number of games that are exclusive to Xbox. And, you know, maybe they're looking over at Valve's upcoming Steam machine and Steam machine, kind of going, So I just find that an interesting turn of events and want to make sure you're all aware of that. So look for more on what is currently called Helix out of Microsoft. And let's take a break. All right, so if you're watching the VOD, that's all for Tech Friday. Thanks for being here. I will see you all next week.